yeah, we're going to do, well, a knowledge cafe exploration around liberating structures. Actually, we've been using liberating structures throughout a number of impromptu networking. So it's, as we say in French, the Monsieur Jourdain doing some prose without knowing it. So, so here we go. Today, we're going to zoom in a little bit more on it, and we're just going to do it rather than talk about it too much. And we're going to start with a structure called impromptu networking, which is really a nice way to get to know each other also a little bit. So what's going to happen? We're going to have 2, maybe 3 rounds of interactions in pairs, one-on-one, for about 4 minutes, reacting to one particular prompt, every round different. And we're going to come back in person, we're going to come back in plenary to be sent back for the second round. And if we do the third round, for that third round. So very simple. The only thing you need to be aware of is the question. It's a sort of check-in question. And a first check-in question, because it's about liberating structures and knowledge management. If we were all usefully engaged and productive together in our knowledge management work, we could really, and so for 4 minutes, give your first draft answer to that question and anything else you want to add with your partner.
And if you can't remember the prompt, it's also in the chat. So as you'll be able to see that in your breakout room in case you're like me and you can't remember half a second ago.
Hello, and we go for the next round. We have 3 rounds of impromptu. And we have a different question, a next one. And the next one is, and I'm sure Nancy is putting it again into the chat. Thanks a lot. And the question is, what is blocking people from really using knowledge management to make a difference in our work? So here we go. What is blocking people from really using knowledge management to make a difference in our work is? So, and we have a new mix of people, and enjoy your nancy reflection. No reporting back here, just inspiration.
Nancy, do you want to take this next one as I share my screen again?
Mute. Okay, share your screen because I don't know what the third one is.
Hey.
Okay, so the third one, today we're talking that meeting place between knowledge management and liberating structures. So where my curiosity about KM meeting liberating structures, this interesting date, takes me is like, what potential is suggested here? And we're going to go off for one more round. And let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hello again. Hey. This is a great music. I wish we could keep that soundtrack. We're going to continue with our little exploration of liberating structures with another structure called shift and share. Someone was just reflecting in our little group about the different icons of structures that is intriguing. So this is one of them. You actually probably know some version of this. What we're going to do is we're going to have 2 rounds of slightly longer conversations for about, I think, 20 minutes of interaction each time. And we're going to have a host that is just there to kickstart, to explain to introduce one little aspect of that interaction between knowledge management and liberating structures. So I'm going to actually let each of them express themselves briefly about what it is they're going to introduce you to. So before I do that, everyone will get to 2 rounds. So not everyone will go to all the 4 rooms, of course, but we'll get a flavor. And anyway, all the materials are available open source, so you can have a look. So, Michael, maybe you are on mute.
There we go. I thought I was muted. Unmuted. Hi, everybody. My name's Michael Victor. I'm the head of communications and knowledge management at ILRI. And today I'm going to be talking about how we use some liberating structures within teams, but also just getting people to look at that as well. And we'll be using Triz to actually kind of take us through the process of working in teams. And really about working out loud as well. How do we work out loud as a team? Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Nadia.
We will explore together. I will not talk. You will think and talk and write. We will explore together. What does it mean to unleash everyone to participate in sharing and managing knowledge? And we will use min specs for this. We will reflect what must you do and what must you not do, that you can tap into the knowledge of everyone. And I'm an independent facilitator, liberating structures practitioners, and I want that others have meetings that are productive and fun. So.
Thank you, Nadia. Nancy.
Hi, I'm Nancy, a troublemaker from the West Coast of the United States. And just if this is the side note, is you can shrink the size of the slides on your screen so you can see more people and their faces. So if you're like me, you're hungering to see the faces, you can slide that little slider between the slides and the images and like have this sense of people and those, you know, being together. Because for me, liberating structures is about unleashing and engaging everyone, not just a particular box at the same time. So in my breakout, we're going to explore the value of liberating structures and working in complex contexts. We're going to use a structure called wicked questions, because at the core of complex work are usually two important but sometimes oppositional forces at play. And we want to discover the space to work with that productively rather than having that be a barrier. And in this world, at least my world in the US, where divisions are really hurting us, finding those places between those perspectives is life and death. So for me, that's really important. And then Ewan.
Thank you, Nancy. And I'm just a friend of these three folks, these fabulous folks. And I'm going to be with you to, just be there to open the door for liberating structures, principles, and what they make possible for knowledge management work. We're going to do a little bit of a gallery walk, where you're going to do a gallery walk with a buddy. And yeah, discover these intriguing principles. The language of liberating structures is sometimes a bit weird, but it's actually really magical once you get into it. And I think you will enjoy that. So just a word of process also, you're going to be in the same room for the 2 rounds. We're not coming back in plenary, but one of us will just be taken out, plucked out of the room and come back. That might feel a bit abrupt, but I'm sure we're going to manage together. So Alice, we're off to go.
I'm sending you off and I am doing the switch in 20 minutes.
And here we go. Welcome back. I hope you had a very good exploration and discovery of some aspect of liberating structures in knowledge management. I'm toggling between screens, so I'm going to let Michael actually. Do you want to introduce the Mati or just do the first prompt, Michael? Michael, someone said that Zoom meetings are like a séance, spiritism séance. Someone is trying to talk to us, but it's so true. Michael,
sorry, I can't see the what's the first one?
I'll put it in chat, but you, yeah. Can I be a provocateur again for a second? Everybody take a breath.
I need one. That was very fast and way too fast.
Good one.
Yeah.
Just take a moment and let that wash over you. Keith also says sometimes rub your earlobes, and that gives you a way for your nervous system to calm and reset. Because some of us are very experienced in liberating structures and some of us are brand new. And we didn't lay a lot of context. So there was just a lot of experience that needs some settling and some processing. And the next thing we're going to do is going to give us a way to process that. But I think we also need a moment to let our bodies reconnect. And, we have time and we can take the time. to let some of that integrate. So in a moment, I will type the chat prompt in there for Michael. You can set up the context of the exercise, that this is an emergent liberating structure that's been particularly adapted these days to the online space. So Michael, I will cut and paste and I'll let you talk.
Okay. Sorry about this. To be honest with you, you and I just a little bit lost. I wasn't kind of ready for this. But I think we have 3 questions, and the Mad Tea Chatterfall is really an opportunity for everybody to, from what we've done, is to just get people to start talking and to start thinking about what they did in the past. So again, what we want people to do is prepare your answer, spend some time, spend like 30 seconds, take a minute, and don't press enter first. And we'll ask everyone to press enter at the same time. And I can't see the chat right now, but what the prompt is?
The prompt is, the challenge that I'd like to address using liberating structures is. The challenge that I'd like to address using liberating structures is. Michael, since you can't see it, I just was bold and stepped in.
Okay, that's perfect. No, thank you so much. So just think about that. We have maybe 30 seconds. We'll just let people take some time. As Nancy said, breathe. Oh, don't put it in yet. Don't press enter yet. We want to see it all like a waterfall.
Yeah.
Come
All right.
Some
down. It's
of
all
us
right. Don't
always
worry.
do that.
Yeah.
Raj. Yeah.
I do it all the time by accident.
Okay. If everyone's ready, go enter. 3, 2, 1. Enter. There we go.
And once you've entered, a nice thing to do is to scroll back up to the question, which was marked by those little hash marks, and then just browse down and see what other people have written.
And I copy and paste it and put in a Word document to read later on.
Krishan, that's smart. We'll save the chat too.
All right.
I'm reading Ann Hendricks Jenkins. I really appreciate that one, Ann, is getting heartfelt and even participation in an uneven team marked by power dynamics and personality issues. I'm sure no one else can relate to that. And that was irony. These are great.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, I'm going to put the next prompt in the chat, and I get to lead this one. Is, as a result, the first step I might take to use liberating structures to address my CAM challenges. So think of, like, first step means it's under your control. You have the power, and it could be really tiny, like, I'm going to call up a colleague and talk about it, or, keep it doable. Something that you could say next week, I did it. So again, you want to type it there, but don't hit enter. And we'll give you a minute for that. And I get to look at all your beautiful faces. Okay, hit enter. See, that's always my cue. When someone starts hitting enter, I know that it's time to hit enter. And then scroll back up to the top of this question, again, marked by those little hash marks, and just take a browse. I had to say goodbye to a kid going off to school. I love that idea, Priscilla, micro connections. I find that very alive and visceral. Although you're funny. Okay. Oh, Arwen. Arwen said, I use it already, but a first step I need to take is use the ones that I ignore because a bit scary, like ecosystem planning, eco-cycle planning. That's where I was. And if you want an eco-cycle planning buddy, just call me because I adore eco-cycle. I use it all the time and it's been magical. Okay. So
I didn't
Nadia,
believe in it until we did it. UN had us do it. And I gave that as an example in my group. And now we're a believer. We've done it 3 years in a row and my staff like it. They actually use it to analyze and reflect where they're going from. It's a great tool.
Yeah. I'll answer why is it so good offline because it'll take up too much space. And I'm going to hand it over to Nadia for the third question.
Third one is, thanks, Nancy. Yes, marrying knowledge management with liberating structures has the potential for, type it, show that you're finished. Show it that you're done.
So if you're not looking at the people images, Nadia just gave you a visual cue.
Yes.
There's so many images, you get buried.
Up your hands, waving to each other when you're finished with writing. And then go. Oh, shifting traditional roles. Oh. A happier work-life balance. There are nice things in here. Creating champions. Wow. I would, if I would be you, I would save this chat. This is, there's a lot in here.
And if you need to know how to save chat, which I imagine nobody needs to know at this point, but there's little dots there to the right of the text input box in the chat, and you just click on that and more, and there's a chance to save chat.
Yeah. Thanks. And I don't know, it's probably to you or hand over to.
I don't have much to say other than this. First of all, liberating structures. Even if you ask the people that created the repertoire, they will tell you you can even make money out of it. Just enjoy, but make it, keep on spreading it online out everywhere. So it's creative license. It's all open source. It's really out in the open, and there's different ways to connect. I think this will be part of all the links that will be shared with all of you as part of the whatever, just a message wrapping up the Knowledge Cafe. There's a community on Slack that keeps on exploring the general repertoire, individual structures, all kinds of things related to liberating structures. There is an app that is findable for your phone. There's a website with different versions, different language versions. I think the book itself is also being translated in quite a few languages, including German and Dutch. And I think it already exists in French and Spanish, obviously in English. The book is there, the original one. You see links to immersions and other events across the world. So there's probably something for any of you here in this crowd. As it happens, yeah, come and play with liberating structures in any case, because that's really the spirit. It's something to try out. And there's even for some of you, again, we'll pass that on. So I'm not going to stay here, but there's an opportunity for an immersion workshop coming up in January 2021. I don't know if Nadia, Nancy, Michael, or anyone would like to say anything before we hand over to Ginetta for some closing.
I'd like to say something, particularly for those of you who are new to liberating structures, it is easy to talk about liberating structures as a toolkit or a set of tools to use to unleash and engage groups. But in the end, it's about changing the way we see the possibilities to engage with each other to solve the problems and the challenges and the opportunities that are really in front of us. So it's not some sort of, you must do this thing. It's about creating space to really unleash and engage everyone. And in our work in international development, knowledge management, often we're really challenged to do that and to change the frame we use for engagement. And so liberating structures for me has helped me see my own limitations in new ways, very specifically to explore my assumptions about how other people see the world. And to me, that is the gift to our practice. It starts, however, with just doing one or two structures, trying it, see what happens, notice the change, notice what is made possible, try it again and notice what happens when you vary it. And it becomes a way of living into that aspiration of unleashing and engaging everyone. And I think it is simultaneously true that it's a set of things you can do and a way to change the world. And so if this was your first taste, start with that first step and just practice one. And if you're coming back, think about the implications for really doing things like decolonizing our work.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy. I just can say yes, yes, yes. And it's really, it's experiencing, practicing step by step. And that's the nice thing. You kick open a door into another way of how to collaborate and also how to facilitate. And there's no way back. It changes your collaboration forever. I'm no longer facilitating and working together with others as I did before I got into liberating structures. It's really about building the process muscle of everyone and involving people into not only working together, but also into how do we work, collaborate, meet. And there is the potential.
Okay, we have a problem. We just ended 10 minutes early. What's going on?
I might just add also that, by the way, it has been tried. I mean, I've tried it. Several other people. We have someone, Ruben, a friend, who's using it repeatedly in family settings, even. So it's not just for work. This stuff is for life, for real. Yeah. Yeah, so I think, yeah, that's great. I mean, we can even stay a bit longer for anyone, but I think it would be good for our km4dev friends who have been so nice to host us today to just say a few final things on behalf of the team. And Michael, by the way, anything you'd like to add? You okay there? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm muted. No, and Nancy said it very well. So I think let's leave it at that.
So Ginetta and team, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you, to all of you, for making this Knowledge Cafe very successful, and for all the people who joined us. We hope you enjoyed the time and the conversation we had. So if you are not a member yet, please join or follow us on different social media, or you can join our dgroups.io a forum where you can see all of us. And of course, we will km4dev journal, a website, and a wiki. This is just part of a series of Knowledge Cafe. We will have another one in October, and the topic will be Youth Leadership Forum. So stay tuned. We will advertise this event in our social media, in our D groups, and just to let you know that in the upcoming weeks, you should receive an email from all of us to join the community in case you are not part of it. So from my side, it's all. Thank you very much for being part of us, and I hope you enjoy it, and to see you soon to the next events. Thank you so much.
Great. And there's two questions in the chat. So we can say goodbye and then we can hang out a little bit and address those questions. But thank you for coming and for playing with us.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, everybody.
Lovely to see some old friends that I haven't seen in a while too.
Good to see you guys.
Hey.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
Sophie.
Sophie.
everyone. Bye.
Okay, so I want to answer Angela's question first. The links are in the penultimate slide, and the slide deck link is up in the chat. We can post it again in a second. It got buried. The question about how to manage LS online when you have a group on a single computer is a very particular use case that requires some conversation. And in the Slack group, I would go to the Wise Crowd channel and ask that question, because there's some people who have actually addressed that. And with everybody moving to quote unquote hybrid workspaces, there's also a hybrid challenge. And I think this similar issue is going to show up in hybrid, because when multiple people are on one computer, you have to begin to have them self-organized for the breakouts, because one of the essential elements of liberating structures is whole group, small group, whole group, small group, whole group, small group. And so the prompts have to be particularly clear, the requests for what you want them to do together and or bring back or not have to be thought through in a different way. So for me, the best way to answer that question is to go through a particular example of what you want to do and problem solve it. And the Slack community would be a great place to do that, because the question would add value to everybody in the community, not just answer your question, because I think we're struggling with that and it's worth the work. The other one is EcoCycle, and I want to just pull up a slide really quickly, so give me half a second. So EcoCycle comes from the work of Brenda Zimmerman and others, which suggests that in our work, the activities, the relationships are always in different states, but we tend to focus on the state of maturity, because when we write a plan, we make a promise to a funder or our organization, we say we're going to do this by that date, and it's going to be scalable, right, and repeatable and predictable. So the land of maturity is the land of the manager, where we know what to do, we know how to do it, and we do it, and we get predictably desired results. If everything was in maturity, all the wheels in the bus would stay on, but the fact is conditions are always changing, so nothing lives in maturity forever. And if we don't understand what's happening outside of that, we may get the proverbial put all of our eggs in one basket and find ourselves in a terrible spot. You can speak up at any time. I see you making funny faces that are encouraging funny faces. So some of the things we do in maturity, actually we do because we always did them. Well, that's the way we always did it. And that's called the rigidity trap, and not letting go. And that's when we come into the space of creative destruction. So it's for the kind of archetype is the role of the heretic, right? Why are we doing that? Well, let's, why is it getting us the results we want? So we need people who are asking those questions. We need not exclude them. We need to give them that valuable role, just like we need the manager to keep things going. We need a few heretics, not everybody being a heretic, to help us see in a new way that what we were doing was no longer adding value. So that then creates space, and this is called the back loop, okay? Once creative destruction creates space, then we have time for renewal. The networker, we connect with ideas in our domain, outside our domain, adjacent to, we talk to unusual suspects. But if we haven't had creative destruction, we're just adding things on, and renewal becomes punishment. And you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to do this. And I think there's, oh, and Michael's got his hand raised. So jump in at any time, jump in, Michael.
Yeah, no, just to give a practical example, I was giving it to my group at the end. Ewan helped me with this, and we did it because I use EcoCycle planning with my team, because as everyone, I work at ILRI, and Ewan and Peter were there already, and they set up a lot of great structures and a lot of great processes and activities, but they've been going on for 3 or 4 years after both Ian or 2 or 3 years after Ewan and Peter had left. And it's very hard to get people to change. And I didn't want to come in and say, oh, everything's terrible. Peter and Ewan are just idiots, and, let's just forget it all. It's like, how do you get people to change? Because they were so used, and it's, cultural as well. people are just so happy and content just doing the same old thing. And so rather than coming in or getting a consultant, the other way that we often do this is just get consultants in and ask them to provide recommendations that no one ever uses. And so I found eco-cycle planning really, really valuable in terms of getting small teams to plot out their activities and them to really be honest with themselves as to where they thought it was. And we found a lot of stuff in maturity, a lot of stuff still that was birthing. And, you know, it depersonalized the discussions we had around the activities.
Yeah.
And we do it every year. So we've been doing it the last 2 years. And this year, even staff said, hey, are we going to do eco-cycle planning again?
I love it.
So yeah, and you can, you know, we have to, we don't do it perfectly. We should be using it a lot more, you know, on a monthly or a quarterly basis, and then following up on things. But it's a great reflective tool because it really depersonalizes, hey, your activity hasn't moved very far, or, you know, we need to redo your activity. CG space is just stuck. Well, it's not stuck, but we're, you know, getting people to think about themselves and think for how they want to change. And I think that was the most, or small teams. And I think that was the really kind of powerful tool about eco-cycle planning that we used it on.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any other reflections, how you've seen the teams use it?
Oh, I think it's great, and I think one of the, I mean, like in many cases, and also using many structures, but not just liberating structures, many tools. Sometimes it's not even the end result that matters so much, but the conversation that is also involved, and the conversation, how people look at the same thing. It's like the elephant and the seven blind men. I think that is so rich of insights, and just that already is very, very helpful. So yeah.
And just to kind of put the icing on it, when we've made space and created destruction, when we've looked outside our own narrow world and renewal, we can understand what's piling up of what we're not investing in and make decisions to move stuff forward into birth. So it gives us a discernment tool and a decision-making framework. It can be used retrospectively. It could be used for current state. It could be used for aspiration. And it can also be used at a multi-system layer, which is called panarchy. So, you know, we could work at the individual level, then the team level, then the group level, then the organizational level, then the global level. And sometimes when we look across those eco-cycles, we begin to see patterns. We can also use it to assess across a portfolio. So we've used it in the CG, looking at research portfolios and understanding where there is shared challenges, learnings, or opportunities across a research portfolio. What's the Canadian Development Organization? I just went totally blank.
Used to be CEDA, but
CEDA.
CEDA.
Yeah,
No, it's called something else now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is my problem. The current name of whatever it is have been using it to look at some of their research portfolios to get more cohesion and coherence across the research portfolio. So it can be very pragmatic, and I'll stop there because I talk too much.
See you later, folks. Thank you very much again.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah, I love
Everyone.